Welcome to Office Hours. My name is the Chris Donaldson, and this show is done for you by you as real estate professionals. If this is your first time joining it, or if you're used to joining us on the show, let me welcome you back into my office. And the point of this show is to deliver as much information and value to you, the real estate professional, as we possibly can. So briefly, let me catch you up on a couple of things. First, we do this show live for a reason. One, because it's fun, but two, so that you can ask your questions. So if you're watching live at any point, if you got a question for me or our wonderful guest tonight, go ahead and fire away in the comments. The other place that you can ask your question is in the Facebook event. So if you're a member of the Facebook event, if you joined the event, you can post your question there. If you didn't, go ahead, go to my page on Facebook, Chris Donaldson, and go ahead and join the group, and you can ask your question there. So tonight's show is all about maximizing Realtor.com. And we've got a rare second appearance on Office Hours tonight. And without further ado, let me reintroduce you guys to my man, Rhett Damon, Vice President now. Rhett, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience, and then we'll also introduce Leah and dive into what we're going to talk about tonight.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Chris, so good to be back with you and your viewers.
Might have mute problems here.
Oh.
Our first technical problem of the night. Let's try this again.
All right, Chris, this has changed.
Yes, it has.
Oh, that was some good stuff then, but we've got some good stuff now. And I also want to introduce one of our newest ambassadors. That's Leah Smith, and she is in Seneca, South Carolina, just outside of the Clemson area. And Rhett, why don't you say hi?
Hey, live from the camper. That's right. I'm a millennial that lives in a camper.
That looks pretty comfy, actually.
It's nice.
And Rhett has joined the ambassador program for Realtor.com. We have about 17 across the country. And these are...
You know, you're doing this outdoors. Wi-Fi has come a long way in just a short period of time, right? You could be anywhere and catch Office Hours. I'm kind of jealous.
It's working out perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, guys, if just to kind of reference what we had talked about before and how much things are the same and how much they have changed. Listen, just this morning, to give you some context, if you're a real estate professional, the number one question we always want to know is, hey, from the consumer's perspective, when they begin that home buying search, or as we're going to talk about, that search for a realtor, where are they going to go? And just today in the barbershop, I was just asking the guys, hey, anybody own a house? One guy's like, yeah. I'm like, where'd you look for that house when you first started? Did you talk to an agent? Where'd you look? What'd he say? Realtor.com. Another guy doesn't own a house yet. I said, hey, well, if you were going to bust out your phone and look, where would you go? And he said, another website that rhymes with Rillo. So it's very important that you guys, we're all on the same, we're all on the same page here, that everybody is married to the mobile device, that the consumer and the search traffic and the importance of understanding, we have to have a presence and we've got to be powerful where the consumer is. So Rhett and me talked the last time about making sure your presence on Realtor.com is maximized, getting the most out of what your dues dollars as Realtor members are already paying for that you may not be aware of. And then there's all kinds of new things that Rhett's got for us tonight. So let's start about, you know, the home of home search. You need this huge media campaign. We had a campaign last time where we were referencing those commercials with Elizabeth Banks and all those things. What we got going on now, my man?
Yeah, so we're really excited about this new campaign. I'm hoping that many of your viewers have seen it. It's been out since probably, I'd say, late.
Just a second. And I will point out that it's hard for me to notice commercials because I'm as millennial as it gets when it comes to I'm not watching commercials. I will do anything it takes. I will do chores to avoid watching a commercial. And I noticed one the other day where it was a search for Baton Rouge, which is one of our local markets right here where we have a campus and then I do a lot of work in. And I think she was searching for a 2-car garage so she could tear it down and turn it into a greenery or something like that. How's my memory? I think I remember seeing that.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And what
and kind of the realtor professional, but what an amazing piece of content and section of content for the brand itself, for realtors as professionals. And again, I will point out, if you're like, man, I've got a Facebook business page and I don't know what to post on it, hello, it's right there. Just copy and paste the URL. And I think so if you're a Baton Rouge realtor, hey, you got a video remade right there to catch somebody's attention.
Yeah, for sure. And all of those commercials are made available. You got it, man. You remember that from 2 years ago.
Not only do I remember, I have tried to teach.
It's really exciting. And some of our employees, not me, but I've got a chance to kind of meet some of the players, and they've spoken to our different company events. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can see that. Absolutely. And congratulations on another bought championship. Making the right decisions as far as branding you're concerned, even if I shall disagree with the team they're attached to. You know, it's all good. Look, last time, guys, if you're catching us for the first time, it was LSU versus South Carolina business. Now we're going Pelicans versus Warriors.
Wait. There's another SEC team you're missing there, Chris.
Mm-hmm. And
I have the tattoo to prove it.
Oh, yeah. Who's that?
The Gators.
Oh, I forgot.
I know you did.
So, they're problems. Boy.
I get the bickering. So I serve a very special market here. I'm at Lake Keowee, which is in the very corner of the state. My primary buyer comes out of the Atlanta area. I'm 90 minutes from Midtown Atlanta, and they're usually second homeowners. A lot of Clemson alumni and donors that want to be close to Clemson for tailgating, and then also want to enjoy the summer here. So that's kind of the cool stuff about my market. For me as an ambassador, I mean, the cool thing about it is I've really robustly explored the tools that are available on RealSuite. And is everybody hearing me okay? I got a little feedback on my end.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit scratchy, but we're hearing you all right. I'm not sure if anything changed there.
So anyways, I've really got to discover all the different tools, the ability to post video on my profile, to respond to different ratings and reviews and recommendations, and use photo response to that as well. And I love the way my social feeds feed over into my Realtor.com profile. So it gives me this really super strong web presence, better than really any other platform. It's really robust and really feels like a social experience for the end consumer. Of course, a bug landed on my face. I am outside a camper.
It's all good.
It's been enjoyable to be a part of the ambassador program.
One of the things, Rhea, that I love that you do is, and you were doing this before we approached you and asked you to be an ambassador, was that you use the check-in feature. You've connected your check-in feature to your profile. So
maybe you move.
Exactly right.
And maybe call me.
Yeah, no, for sure. So just to kind of set up the context for the audience out there, what she is taking advantage of, and I think what Rhea's doing really well and what Rhett's mentioning, and we'll kind of into this, is if you're a new agent out there, okay, or if you're a realtor that may not be aware of this presence and these tools in this dashboard, I think that what we've got to understand is if you can't beat them, join them, or understand the advantages that you already have. So what I say all the time is I don't think I'm going to build, at least if I'm an agent anywhere, a site that's going to get more activity than Realtor.com. I don't think that's the point. I don't think that's why I'm a realtor. I don't think that would make any sense. But by plugging myself in to tools that are included, that are being fed there, then I can increase my presence by bouncing off of their massive presence. And where the consumer is naturally going to go, your listings will be found, you will be found, and all of that pinging that's going on in SEO world with Google and activity, every time Rhea checks in, it gives the consumer more of an opportunity to engage with you, see you, be attracted at that moment of truth when they're going to buy or sell. I think that's incredibly important. So, Rhett, let's do the crash course real quick, and then let's bring it up to speed. So the crash course is, if you're a member of the Association of Realtors, your MLS is feeding information and data and profiles. We're sharing that brand.
Right.
Let's start from the scratch. Like, I just got my license within a year. My head's spinning. What's the first thing I should do to make sure I take advantage of Realtor.com?
Yeah, so that's a great place to start.
So why don't you walk us through, if you can share the screen too, man?
Yeah, sure. So does that show there when I flip over?
I don't see it.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
But I can pull it up in the meantime.
Yeah, let's see. Let's just make sure that.
If y'all didn't watch the first episode, it's worth a watch to go for the first 15 minutes or so, where a couple of very good friends got called out on live television for not having their profiles claimed and having just big open black question marks there. And I loved every second of it. And so did they, by the way, because they immediately were able to take advantage. Because sometimes with all of the things going on, there are features available to you may not realize. And so it's important that we put this out there so that, look, advantage of what you got.
Okay, so how's that? Can you see it now?
Yep, looks beautiful.
All right, good. All right, so what we're really talking about here is if you just go to Realtor.com, right? And you search in the find real. So we're getting 14 million searches here a month. And these are consumers looking for realtors and agents, right? So you guys can see my screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So again, I just did Seneca, South Carolina. I'm just doing a quick search. We could do anywhere.
My friends.
That's right. That's right. So if a member of NAR, an association, has a NERDS ID, which they will, they're going to have a profile on Realtor.com that's completely free. What they have to do is they have to claim it.
Can you say that one more time? Because my audience really resonates with free, and I want to make sure that they understand that there's literally no reason not to do this. Can you say that again?
Yeah, no reason whatsoever not to do it. Your profile on Realtor.com is 100% free. And it is full of features and benefits and technology, as Rhea was mentioned earlier, that everyone needs to take advantage of. And it's also powered by the MLS, and it's powered by the association. Meaning things like your designations and your certifications, I'm hovering over here on Tina's profile, those are coming automatically from NAR.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that feature. I love that I'm displayed as a resort and second home property specialist, because that is what I do. And that's important that people can see that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the consumer is going to become more savvy about understanding that different agents are going to have different specialties in certain things, and that there is a differentiation between a realtor and a non-realtor on National Code of Ethics Day, as an example. But also, if you've got those designations, that you can feature those, and the consumer can see why Rhea sets herself apart from maybe other agents in the market and so forth. So, yeah.
Yes. So I actually just pulled up Rhea's profile, and she's just, a rock star here. A beautiful background image of the lake. Now, Rhea, did you take that with your GoPro, or what did you use to take that photo?
That's with my DJI Mavic Pro drone.
With your drone, yes. I love it.
Another drone reference. We might have to have a whole show on drones, huh, Jordan?
I'm drone.
Whole show on drones, huh, Jordan?
I'm drone, 360, Matterport, GoPro, iPhone. I just got it all.
Oh, and you have a motorcycle.
And I have a Kawasaki ZX14 and a jet boat, and I have a golf cart now.
All right, that last one interests me a lot.
Rhea does a little drag racing on the side there, a little bike racing. We'll have to talk about that later. But when we look at Rhea's profile, look at here. So we're seeing, of course, a nice bio, years of experience, 9, a designation and certification, and of course, she's a resort and second home property specialist. She has loaded a video here, which is a great way to introduce your brand and yourself to consumers. And that's a very simple thing to do inside the Real Estate dashboard. The listings and solds automatically come in through the MLS, You don't need to do anything here.
Mm-hmm.
And you can click on recently sold and just see those, or the for sales and just see those. And then when we scroll down, I'm getting a little feedback, but I'll pursue.
Yeah, I'm hearing that. Not sure what's going on, but it's all good.
It's all good. When you scroll down in the ratings and reviews, you can see this. And Rhea, why don't you talk about how you added additional comments there on your ratings and reviews?
In the ratings and review section, that's all people, obviously, that interacted with me, done transactions with me, one or two, or maybe realtor peers, and I go back in and add my own commentary to what they've said about me, which I feel like authenticates the review. You know, when you can say something specific about it. The recommendations, you can also give the photo reference on, which is super cool. There's probably, there's one of me and somebody on a boat. We're always on the water. And then if they won't pose for my photo, I just get in it myself. And post there's one in the bottom right corner of a really nice dirt sale that I had that we're now relisting because they're going to actually buy an existing home and they wouldn't jump in the photo. So it's just me and their picture. So some content there helps the consumer that's visiting your website to really know that this is real and this is it, that's engaged and interacting with their clientele. And I think it gives it a really authentic feeling when you're doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I really love how you did this, Rhea. And again, this is completely a free feature within the profile. And the way, Chris, for your audience, the way to do it is once a recommendation comes through, it's accessible within the profile, and then the agent would just go edit that recommendation and add a photo or even add a video. So right here where she has this photo, that could also be a video. It just needs to be hosted on a URL, and then that video would play. And then similarly, once a rating and review comes in, Rhea was able to go edit that rating and review or modify it and then comment on it. And that's what we've done here. And that can be done on any rating and review. And similarly to up here in the video featuring the agent and Rhea's here, that's a simple pasted URL within the back end of the Real Suite dashboard.
And I wouldn't even ever think that. I shot that with my GoPro, but I shot some others with an iPhone. Just something short, sweet, simple, no more than like 40 seconds max. Who you are, what you do, what you're about. Host it on mine's hosted on YouTube. Host it on your website, of your own website, somewhere it's going to land to. It's really easy to upload that content. And it really makes for a special profile.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Look, if somebody didn't know who you were and were interacting with you the first time, they're thinking about buying or selling, and they land on this spot, the consumer 90% of the time does not even know how they got here. So once they land here, you're giving them a reason to stay, stuff to look at, to create a relationship with you even online, and maybe look at the top. Hit you up with your contact info, ask you a question, take that next step. I think that's critically important. So, look, takeaway number one, guys, I don't care how long you've been a realtor. Get on there and make sure you have claimed your profile, that there is a picture, that your content, that all of that stuff is updated, and then you can continue to work on it, make it better, add more stuff. But I got to tell you, if somebody's looking for you, it's just like a business. It just amazes me how many small businesses don't even have a website. Like, what do you do if you're looking for a restaurant or a dry cleaner? You pull it up on Google and you can't find them. You just assume they're out of business, don't exist. Well, you think the consumer is going to work any harder to find you? So take advantage of what's here. Give that person that might be looking for you the opportunity to get lost and move on.
Well, and to that, Chris, you're exactly right. And what I always like to share with realtors and agents is the traffic, the 14 million visits and page views that we're getting within the Find a Realtor search or a realtor profile, they're not always coming from the path that we started here, which is, where I went to the realtor, or I entered a city, or I enter a name. They're coming from an organic search because consumers are searching agents and realtors just like realtors are searching consumers and buyers and sellers. So it's an organic search. And the pages, these profile pages, are geared to, to be very SEO friendly to the agent with the agent's name in the URL. So don't always be thinking about, for your audience, that it's someone coming to Realtor.com and doing a search for realtors. There's plenty of people doing that, but they're also just searching Rhea Smith agent or Rhea Smith, and they're finding your profile page.
100%. And we talk about all the time. And then the second critical piece, and Rhea, I'm interested in your comments here, but even 2 years ago, we talked about, Rhett, the importance of reviews and ratings and activity. And we talked about how important that was going to be going forward. Well, guess what? 2 years later, we were not only right, it's probably going to be one of the most important things in the next 3 to 5 years, in my opinion. And the reason is because millennials do not care what you say about you. I don't care.
That's right.
Rhea, you could stand up there and say, I'm the greatest agent of all time. I don't care. If you start your listing presentation with how many, I don't care. But if you have a bunch of people that say you're great, that I know, other people that have worked with you, now I care. What do you? And so I think that you guys continue to make that feature robust. So has anything changed? What else you can add to comments? But you got to keep those reviews coming, and you got to stay active with that, right?
As many reviews as you can collect, get them. I mean, and get them right in the moment. If you can get them at the closing table, slide your phone over to them and say, hey, do you mind punching in a review real fast? That's the best way to get them right there. Now, unfortunately, most of my clients are mail away, so it takes a lot of work for me to get them to actually get their reviews done. But if you can get them in the moment, and they're usually at their peak of happy when they've closed that house, they hadn't figured out the dishwasher is going to die in a week.
Right.
So get them at the closing table and get them while they're happy, and let's get that out on the web. That is going to authenticate you.
No doubt. I mean, look, time kills. Time kills passing rates on real estate exams, and time definitely kills your opportunity to get a great rating. You got to catch them in the moment. And it's psychology. People are more likely, way more likely to leave a negative than a positive. So if you know you got a positive person, you've got to proactively reach out and be like, hey, don't send me a gift. Don't send me a card. I'd rather that 5-star review. That means more to me than anything in the world, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Chris, just to add to that, the difference between the recommendation and the rating review is by design. So it's meant for the professional to capture whatever is easiest, right? So if you've got a consumer who is logging into Realtor.com, has an account, they can submit a rating and review, because we need to know who they are. So they do need to have an account. They need to have that consumer account on Realtor.com. But if they don't, they can submit a recommendation without having an account, right? And so there's the distinctive difference between the two. Both are very good and very valid, and that's why we built them that way.
Yeah, no, definitely and absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about the consumer, Rhett. So there's something about My Home and a feature you guys have unveiled there, and some other reasons to try to get the consumer, because. Just for reference, guys, and Rhett may have something to add to this or to say, but did you notice where he said Realtor.com and where the majority of their operations are out there in Silicon Valley, in the technology world? It's incredibly important that we understand that Realtorcom is in the tech space. They are staying ahead of the curve for you, by you. All these important things, and we're not going to go backwards. We're going to continue to press forwards, which includes creating a space online that the consumer is going to want to hang out, that they're not going to leave and go somewhere else. And your advantage is the same advantage of understanding that Realtor.com is going to be continuing to make that space where somebody's going to land and stick. And so you want to be there where the consumer is going to land and stick.
Yeah. So to that point, our audience has historically always been people who are actively in the market to buy and sell. And once they complete that, or they're exhausted from that search, or they're no longer in the market, they don't necessarily come back to Realtor.com. So one of the things we launched last fall is called My Home. And it's available for consumers with their consumer account. So I just logged in. with my consumer account, and you can see now where you see my name in the kind of menu bar. And here, once the consumer logs in, we have this new feature called My Home that shows up in the top navigation. And this is essentially a page or a space within Realtor.com. This is the first time we've ever launched anything like this. Now a consumer has a place to come kind of manage their property, manage their home. They can not only see the public record information, but they can see, they can kind of track its value, for example. They can look at mortgage and equity information. And Rhea, I'm sure you're not surprised to hear this, or Chris, neither are you. A lot of people don't even understand the concept of equity and over time and how that changes, right? So this is a way for them to kind of play around with some of these numbers, to get some updated mortgage information, to update the information themselves, and just to kind of get more familiar with that. Also, we have a cool little section here about the neighborhood, right? So I live on Lake Murray outside of Columbia, South Carolina, and you can kind of quickly see how your home compares to nearby homes. And you see a list of homes nearby, and the property descriptions and information that we have, and just get a sense of how that compares. So that's really a nice feature. Remodeling is another thing that we all know that consumers are doing all the time. We purchased a company called Modelista about 2 years ago, and this is really where we're bringing in content for consumers to kind of explore and research and to consider, what a kitchen upgrade may do to their home value, and the different spaces that they may want to focus on. And then also we have this idea is like a Pinterest board for your home. So you're bringing in different ideas of photographs, different media and articles to help you get concepts about what you may want to do for your house, and just kind of pin them on your board and keep that for future reference. So it's really first time ever that we've launched something for the consumer to keep it a little stickier for them to come back and manage their home as a portfolio on a large portal like Realtor.com.
Now, going all the way back to the beginning, how do we walk a consumer through claiming their home and being able to start from scratch? They would go to Realtor.com, My Home, and then what would they do?
They simply would enter in their property address, and they would claim that property. And then after they do that, we go through a kind of verification step where we kind of double check property records, and we come back and have them. And again, the product is it's still being finalized, I guess. It's a little bit in beta. You can claim one property, but if a property is claimed that you don't own, then that you're not able to claim it. In other words, someone would have to unclaim it for someone else to claim it. You can't claim more than two. So there's a few things that we're going to be tweaking there, but it's somewhat harmless. The idea is, so for example, I've claimed this home where I live, but if I were to go buy another home, I would need to unclaim this one and go claim the new one, and vice versa.
Now, are we depending on the consumers to do that, or is there kind of going to be a process if you go claim one that maybe the records will match and say, hey, you bought a new home, and unclaim it over time? Yeah. It's
right now it's a little bit of a evolving process.
Sure.
I've gone through where it says verified owner. We've kind of gone through the verification process, but in the very beginning, when we first launched this, I actually claimed a family home because I wanted to test it, right?
Yeah.
I went in and unclaimed it. Or if I were to try to go claim another property, it would say, no, you can't. You've got to unclaim the one you currently have. But there are some steps there to verify. And anything that gets changed here, like, for example, we allow the consumer to update. Let's say the 3-bedroom, 2-bath was wrong. And I said, oh, I want to change that, right? And I want to say I have a 2-car garage, right? And all that, and I'll save it. Well, all that's doing is it's saving it for the viewer, for the homeowner or the consumer. It's not changing anything on Realtor.com or changing anything in the public record database. It's simply changing it within the experience that the consumer has on their property.
Right. No, absolutely. The value thing, and I really want to ask Rhea about this, because we as professionals in the field, we deal with this all the time. And first of all, Rhett, do y'all have a name for your home value, or are we just going to call it a restimate, or what are we going to call this thing?
We call it an AVM, and we all. And again, just to be clear, we never put a home valuation or evaluation model on an active listing. It's one of the distinctions that we have, because our position is
Correct.
the agent, the realtor, that's their job. Their job is to, to evaluate the price of the property. So you'll only see an AVM on Realtor.com on off-market properties.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. And Rhea, I wanted to kind of tee this up for you, because it's something we talk about all the time, is that information has only helped the realtor professional. It's only made our jobs easier in terms of being able to display and show our expertise, because this is just that much more information the consumer may find, and their head's gonna explode, because they're like, this is a lot of stuff. I need a professional that really knows my market, that really understands this stuff to explain it to me, because my head's spinning. I see that as a tremendous advantage and value that we can present. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I mean, this just kind of starts the process. They get a bunch of information. They don't know what to do with it. They need a professional. And even in a specialty market like I'm in, which is a resort and second home lakefront market, my lake's not like other lakes. It's not like coastline. I mean, if you can't explain the 800, the 804, the 810, the 75-foot setback, the 810 floodplain, and all these different things that I just barked out, that's nowhere online anywhere. I know that because I'm a professional in this market.
That's right.
Getting into the door of the information using something like Realtor.com is a great way to get that consumer to you. They still need you. They find out with all the information that they get that they still don't know anything.
Yeah, no doubt.
They need you to guide them through it.
No doubt. I mean, listen, Realtor.com, let's just get some perspective here. They're fixing a problem here. And the problem really is this idea or this misinformation that, oh my gosh, if the consumers can see everything online on their own, what are they going to need me for?
Right.
Well, guess what? I can go on WebMD, and if I search enough terms, I'm going to think I have everything. Yeah. I still want to go to a doctor that actually knows what they're doing, and I don't want to Google search, find out whether I have a serious disease or not. And I think it's incredibly important that we understand the information thing is just going to continue to fly, and our own brand and Realtor.com is doing important things because they're listening to the consumer. The consumer wants to know what their house is worth at every hour of the day. They want to be able to update things. They want to go on an app like they are doing, like House, and get different remodeling ideas. Why don't we build a space where they can do that without having to build a website on my own, and how expensive that would be? I think it's super valuable. And guys, I'm going to remind you again, if you're a Realtor member, these features are already included in your dues dollars. You are nuts if you're not doing it. So I've got no sympathy for you if you don't go do this, because you've either got money to spend, let's put that away, or you've got time and effort. And you got time and effort to click a few buttons, increase your profile and your presence here, and make sure that when I'm searching around, that when I find you, that I'm going to know that you're an important resource. So I love what you guys are doing, Rhett. It continues to improve on what we saw before, because I know that managing those reviews and all of that, it's part of modern business. I teach a course about basically reviews in your online branding, and it's a moving target. I mean, you're going to have people like on Google, for instance, that can review you. They can create a page for you, then review you, even if they'd never met you. Right. So you've got a verified source here. You've got a place where they can see that you're responding. And I think that's critical, as opposed to, some random review site that nobody's heard of, that the consumer probably isn't going to trust anyway. Or when you put reviews on your website that clearly you wrote about yourself or your mom wrote.
Yeah, and right, exactly. So, Chris, real quick, and I had shared with you earlier that video about how to create your dashboard account or your RealSuite account. The one thing I want to point out here is when you on the Realtor.com homepage, right there in that login button, when you click that, and this is the same whether you're on a tablet or a phone, just to remind your viewers that the left-hand side there is the consumer login. That's what I logged in earlier with to see my home. The right-hand side is the professional, where it says real estate professional. That's where they'll click. Your professional realtor members and agents would click there, or they would sign up, right? And when they do that, just real quickly, I've already launched a dashboard account. This is what the RealSuite dashboard now looks like. right? So on the left, you can see the Real Suite brand on the top left, and you've got home, contacts, tasks, listings. So in this case, I'm actually, in Hagen's profile. Hagen's not buying any leads. This is all free. But I just wanted to show this where he's got all of his listings. Hagen ambassador out of the Nashville, Tennessee market. All of his listings here where he can send a seller report directly to his listings. He can manage his profile. This is where you would go to manage your profile, see recommendations, and add those photos and videos that we talked about. Ratings and reviews, where you would go submit your reply back to a rating and review. And then performance, these are all reports, right? Views to your profile, views to your listings. And one of the most important features that I wanted to point out is here on the right, in the where the small thumbnail photo of Hagen displays with the drop-down arrow. In the settings section, what's really critical to make sure all of your viewers know is that here in the settings section, there's a section for lead settings, and you can absolutely for free come into your settings and request to be notified via text for any leads that come off of your profile, that come off of your listing detail pages. You're basically saying, hey, email isn't fast enough anymore. I want to receive a text notification. So you can turn that on and off right here in your settings. And you can designate that to be on your profile, or also you can participate in courtesy leads. So again, if we're in a market where we have perhaps agents that aren't buying, or what we call inventory. We're generating leads, but we don't have agents that said they want to purchase those leads. You can sign up for courtesy leads. We request that you sign up for them because a lot of people don't want to deal with leads. They're not in the lead business or the lead responding business, and that's fine. But if you are, all you do is you come into this section and you select courtesy leads and you change the slider over to yes. You verify where you want us to send those leads, and you'll receive leads that way as well. So it's a really important setting that folks need to do, and your A+ students will do this, and they'll benefit, and their business will grow as a result of it.
Did you just show me a tool where I can get free leads that are already coming into your system?
Absolutely.
So I would be pretty crazy not to turn that on, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave that right there, because the number one thing that people talk about and ask for with office hours is, how do I generate more leads? Well, there you go. Push a button. And then if you tell me they're bad, you better tell me how many times you followed up, what your system was, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's amazing. I think it's a beautiful tool. I think that the site continues to evolve. The tools that you're giving the professionals continues to evolve. So we've got some other things to get to. So real quick, let me just pause and remind everybody, number one, thank you guys for watching Office Hours. Again, this is a side project that's turned to a main project for me. One of my main goals here is to keep you from becoming that famous statistic that's always quoted, right? That 80% of agents won't make it to 5 years. Well, I feel a responsibility as a real estate school owner that I do everything that I can, that not only I can get you through the exam and get your credits, that you're going to succeed and make it. I'm interested in that. This show is broadcast at no cost to you. There's absolutely no hook. There is no catch. So if this is your first time, make sure that you come back. We are doing this entirely for you. And I want to thank you guys for your attention and for your interest. And the most important thing I want to point out is, while we're live, if you've got a question for Rhett, for Leah, for me, this is your chance. So post it in the event, post it in the YouTube comments, and we'll get to them as we can. So all of that being said, y'all have got an event coming up, and we understand that it's important to attend events where you are going to actually grow as a professional. And if you've got a Facebook account as a realtor, you're going to get thrown every opportunity for every possible event, coach, speaker, you name it. And a lot of it I would be careful against, but this one I would not. So guys, can you tell me about your event? The Results Summit is getting a lot of rave reviews, and I'm pretty pumped about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is our third year our third year hosting this event. We call it our Results Summit. It's going to be in Las Vegas at the Aria Resort and Casino, October 1st and 2nd. It's a very high quality, extremely high content event where we're bringing speakers from all over the country, headliners and also practitioners. And one of them is our very own ambassador, Leah Smith. And there we're making her look even more fantastic than she already does. All we need here, Rhea, is a pic of you on your motorcycle.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would, in fact, maybe we could work it out so that we could ship your motorcycle to Vegas and you could like wheel it on stage when you come for your session.
Well, the last trip I made to Vegas was with Kawasaki. They flew me and my team out there for a big competition, so wouldn't be that far-fetched.
Wow. Well, why don't you tell the audience your session and what you're going to be doing there in Las Vegas at our event?
So I'm on a really cool panel with a couple of different practitioners, one to be determined from different areas in the country. And our panel is all about how do we deal with the on-demand consumer, that our consumers need it right now, and how are we meeting their needs? And it's more a realistic approach to this, and not, you know, we've been laughing saying it's not one of those the robots are coming type scenario, where how do we deal with this as humans, as practitioners? How do we get the information to their hands in a way that feels organic and authentic, and not like we pushed them to the side or placated their needs for information? What are we doing to handle this? So it's going to be a really dynamic discussion. It's going to be very interesting. That session, as well as all the others that are planned. This will be my first results summit. I have attended a results series class in Greenville, South Carolina, that I am still using things I learned in that class to this day. And that was probably 2 years ago that I took that session, and still opening the emails that Realtor.com sends me from that experience, because there's great information in it. So the follow-up from these events, I mean, it makes it really worthwhile to attend.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you that's the number one thing for me, is that if I'm going to attend to an event, there's got to be something I'm going to get out of it as a professional. So if it's networking and the people that I need to talk to, obviously that's one thing. But if a realtor professional, if I want to know how to do my job better, hear from people that are dealing with the same problems as me, that a buyer's texting me at 3:30 and that wants to see something at 7 a.m., we're all dealing with that. And I think that that is an important value proposition that you guys probably have, in addition to likely tying in and taking advantage of all of these tools that Realtor.com has for you.
Sure. And I actually, if you'll connect with me on Facebook, my name's Rhea Smith, R-E-A-H, last name spelled like what you think it is, Smith. I will be posting a link for half off on your ticket pricing for your registration. So
Did you say half?
Half.
Wow.
Good old half off deal. So I'll post it there. I'll post it on the event page as well for office hours, the Facebook event there. So you'll be able to find it, get it, sign up for it. I mean, this is a tax-deductible trip to Vegas, and this is a no-brainer to me. So we do hope to see you there. I think it's going to be really worth your time, and you'll come back energized.
For sure. No, I think that number one, for you guys that are watching, and for Rhett and Rhea, just so that you guys know, all of the links, all of the resources, we are going to pack them all in to a follow-up email to our email list. So if you're not on the office hours email list, make sure that you're on there. The only thing that you will get from me are alerts about the show and follow-up after the show. This is a community that's built entirely for you. So I've got that link. I'll provide that.
Excellent.
Right, all of these different things, the clips, all of this stuff, you guys will get in an email, so we can make sure that you have that, because I think it's critically important.
And Chris, there's one more link I want you to share. You know, it's our fundraiser at NAR Annual in Boston. Did you see that one?
I did. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah,
I
so
saw
just
running, so I ran away from it. But for the runners out there,
so you can run or walk. But I know this is near and dear to a lot of your viewers, certainly to the folks in South Carolina. We're participating in the 5K run walk in Boston at the annual event later this fall. And it's for the Realtor Relief Fund. So when there was natural disasters, of course, that happened through flooding in the Louisiana area a few years ago, certainly in Columbia and South Carolina and the upstate, the Realtor Relief Fund, we all know, is very important to the realtor family. So the registration or the donation is $50 for the 5K run walk. But it's really a contribution to the Realtor Relief Fund. And Realtor.com has a team. We are now running a team in that 5K. Rhea will be with us. And my goal is to have the Realtor.com team in the top 5, which would really mean about 50 participants.
Oh, man, that means I have to start training.
And you can't bring
a big request to come out of running retirement.
Yeah, you got to come out of running retirement, or else haul that motorcycle up there, and you can be a big star with the motorcycle. But we really want to encourage, if your viewers are going to be attending the NAR meetings in Boston, it's on that Saturday. Forgive me, I don't have the date in front of me, but it's the Saturday as the event starts. 7:30 in the morning, 5K run, walk. But you don't, even if you're not going to be there in attendance, you can still basically register under the Realtor.com team, pay the $50 fee, which is a donation to the Realtor Relief Fund, and support us that way. So I encourage your viewers to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've pulled up the site here. And of course, us in South Louisiana, these types of things are near and dear to our hearts. Whether it be hurricanes, we've had some floods, all areas, Houston not too long ago. It's an incredibly important thing. It's a powerful thing. The realtors, when the time is necessary, reach out there, especially those in need that are having trouble in housing related and so forth. And I think that's awesome that you guys are doing that. Giving back is really important to the industry in general and to housing and to all of those, because it could happen to any of us, right? Regardless of where you live in the country, there is something that's going to get you, could get. It's pretty remarkable. So I think that's awesome. So a couple of things before we wrap it up. Number one, guys, if you didn't catch, we're just about an hour in, and I mean, literally, I've got more links. Jordan, you're going to have to help me put together all these hyperlinks, because we're going to have hyperlinks to hyperlinks in the email after this, because of all of the value and all of the amazing things that you guys can do on Realtor.com. And I think that I was searching around before, and I'm just telling my audience right now, there are still some of you out there that are more concerned about worrying about all these other things that you can't control than logging on to a resource that's already there and maximizing it just a little bit. So for you guys that want kind of the meat of the matter, the takeaways, the real tangible stuff, get on the email list if you're not already. I'm going to distill it down for you, give you all the links that I can, because I think this is incredibly important. Because, Rhea, you made a great point, and Rhett, we touched on it as well. The robots are not coming to take over real estate. Let me just be clear,
right,
unless you let them. And what I mean by that is, and Rhea, jump in at any moment, you let them buy, as an example, there being a whole, that's not the case with so many of us. And I want you guys to understand that people still want to work with people. We're still in a relationship business. You still have a lot to do. And the more information that the consumer gets, the more that they're going to need you. So stop worrying about all this stuff, AI and all this other mess, and why don't you log on and fill out your free profile and get to work.
That's fair.
Amen, brother.
You'd be way better off. And I'm here to tell you guys that what's old is new again, and back and forth. Old school is new school. New school is old school. People are finding you on Realtor.com, but they still want to talk to you on the phone. They still want to sit down with you in person. The game has not changed as much as people are trying to scare you that it has. And I think that the statistics show, I mean, more people used realtors last year ever before in history. On my website at thechrisdonaldson.com, you'll see a couple of events that are coming up. Let me make sure that I share and show you that designations and education and differentiation, why isn't it pulling up? There we go. Is an important part of becoming an actual expert. I own a real estate school, and I tell you guys all the time, getting a real estate license does not make you an expert. It gives you the foundation to become one.
Right.
And so what I want you to understand is that the Superstars Bootcamp is a 1-week business building class that I developed for you based on your request. You now get GRI fundamental credit if you take that. So if you want to get the prestigious GRI designation, that's a place to start. I'll also be at Career Development Week, speaking of casinos, at the Beau Rivage / Hard Rock in August. The Louisiana Realtors are having a Career Development Week. It's like summer camp for realtors on steroids. It is awesome. And I'll be doing the Real Reboot, which is an elective class within your ABR designation. In other words, guys, if you go to these two in completion, you'll have more badges on your Realtor.com profile than the consumer will know what to do, other than they'll go, this guy must be important because he's got a lot of badges.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really want to differentiate yourself and you want to be an expert, remember, getting your license is the beginning. It's not the end. And therefore, you can then prove that you are an expert. Any final shots? I don't want to keep you guys any longer. Rhett, you've got me wearing my hat backwards on office hours. This might be a first. So any party shots for you guys before we end the live portion of the show here?
You know, Chris, I'll just say it's an honor to be invited back a second time. It's always fun to be with you and your audience, and I actually, when I shared this with some of my folks, it was your audience that kind of came back and kind of said, absolutely, we're loving to have you back again, and we look forward to having you give us some updates. So thank you for that opportunity. Rhea, I'll toss it over to you now that you're inside the camper.
Yeah, I'm indoors. If you've enjoyed the camper experience, it's headed to Airbnb here shortly. The Mountain Mermaid Lake Huey will be the listing name. But I appreciate you having me on, and I hope to see you folks out in Las Vegas. I mean, it's going to be fun. The Aria is a wonderful resort. If you've never stayed there, it's a lot of fun, and it's going to be worth your time. It's value added to be there. If I always say with these things, if I can come home with one new thing, then it was worth it. You will come home with a whole suitcase of new things from this. This is going to be great.
I love it. I think that's such a great point, and that's something I say all the time. I get my money's worth if you can give me one idea that can help me improve my business. And if I get a suitcase full, then I'm in really good shape. So, guys, look, Donaldson Real Estate School, if you're interested in becoming a realtor, if you're already a realtor, if you're looking to advance yourself, we are now in Louisiana. We are approved in Mississippi. We are now approved in Alabama, and we are making our way across because we believe there is a difference in the way things used to be and the way that they should be. So thank you guys for watching Office Hours. My name is the Chris Donaldson. I'll see you guys.